car, towed it away. And of course, they took it and they did whatever forensics they did on the car. And then late Saturday night, police with a crime scene unit went to the sister's house and did a late night investigation over at the house. And I could see the lights inside, and it very much looked to me like they were doing some kind of testing inside the garage. And now, right now, police have returned to the home of Savannah Guthrie's sister. So there's something most definitely going on with the sister, that or the son-in-law, her partner. And the police, with all these visits to the Annie Guthrie home, they seem to have their eye on them. They are either have some evidence or some strong suspicions. So let me go back to this, and maybe some of you sleuths in the audience can weigh in. So let me just play. This is the surveillance video from the front door. This is the actual video in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. Strange man, yeah, walking up. And about this video, a couple things about this video. They have a gun, a handgun, and a very strange holster strapped and tied onto the front of their body. I've never seen anything like this. And I was looking online and looking on social media with this story, and people are showing all these different types of holsters you can buy on Amazon. None of them quite look like this. You know, I've been a gun owner my whole life. I've known a lot of guys that have guns. I have never in my life known anyone who carried a gun in a holster dangling like this, especially in the front. You know, somebody might have a gun inside their pants. They might even have, you know, like I've got a concealed weapon holster. A concealed holster fits inside. Sometimes people will have a holster that goes inside their pants, or even have the gun stuck inside their pants. I've never seen a holster especially with a gun a handgun this size, hanging down from the front. It's very strange, and it looks really kind of like a homemade kind of holster. And you know, in Tucson, Arizona, they have these light pollution laws where there's no lights, so it's dark. There aren't street lights like you would have at a normal neighborhood. And they're walking up here, and I'm having a hard time telling if there's some, it looks like they have some kind of flashlight on their head strapped around, but I'm seeing these lights, one on each shoulder. Are those lights on the shoulder, or are those reflections? You see, it looks like when he's far away, it looks like he's got a light on his forehead, but then we find out it's just is it a reflection? Did he turn it off? There's a lot going on here. Very strange. And the person's walking bent over a little bit. It looks like maybe they're trying to disguise their face, and also trying to hide their gait, their walk, their stance. You know, you can identify people like, boom, just like that, just by their stance, by their gait, by how they walk. And I mean, I'm sure everybody in this audience, you've been somewhere and you've been out and about, and you see someone from behind, and you know who it is just because of the way they're standing or the way they're walking. And this is not only gone viral on all social media platforms, it's been all over television, the video and the images, the still images now for a couple of hours. So there's no question that people know who this is. And also the clothing, to me, the clothing looks very unique, right? So if you know this person, you recognize the clothing. And, you know, the reflections could be from the backpack straps, but the backpack itself it's fully loaded. I don't know what they have in the backpack, but the backpack itself is unusual. And when you look at this backpack, it's hard to tell because it's in the dark. We got this night vision thing going on, and it changes colors, and sometimes you'll see a pattern there that may or may not be there. But there's no this guy's backpack is fully loaded, and they, I know I saw one. There's all these retired detectives all over television today talking, and it seems like every time I listen to a retired detective, they got another theory. I heard one theory, I can't remember who it was, and I did hear Bongino who talked about a smash and grab robbery gone wrong, which I don't agree with that theory. This guy to me came prepared to do whatever he did. He's well dressed. I mean, he's not wearing a tuxedo, but he's dressed in a way to disguise himself, right? He's got a terrifying ski mask on. He's got oversized gloves on, and the gloves are so big, they're almost like boxing gloves, where the gun would be useless. He wouldn't be able to use that handgun with those gloves on. So it looks like whoever it is trying to disguise their hands. Whether I know I've heard some of the cops on TV. They say, well, maybe he's got some scars or tats on his hands, maybe. But to me, it looks like he's trying to hide the size and the shape of his hands. That's why he's got the oversized gloves on. This backpack is fully loaded with whatever's back there and strapped on tight. And the clothes, when I say he's nicely dressed, I don't mean dressed up, but he's properly dressed. This isn't like a hobo that we're dealing with here, So I don't think this was just some random person who was a homeless guy just walking around and saw an opportunity. This looks to me like somebody was prepared. And here I'm showing on YouTube a close-up of this holster. I don't know for the life of me why someone would have a holster kind of tied onto their clothing. This is not some proper holster at all, with a handgun that large in the front of their private areas, and it's dangling around that way. That is just a very strange thing to do to me.
Now they're in the home of her nanny's neighbor.
Oh my goodness. Oh, my wife just told me that the police are in the home of the neighbor of the nanny. So there's, this morning they were taking DNA samples from workers that had contact with the mother. So who those workers are, I don't know, like groundskeepers. Now we got this nanny's mother. So they're definitely moving in. A lot of the theories from the police on television today was that this is likely a friend or a family member of someone that she has had that works for her, that she has contact with. I know there's a lot of direction being put on the brother-in-law. The police have been to the house so many times. How can you not, think that? But here's the video again of them walking up to the house. They've got their head down, disguising their face. And another thing about when they get this person, and they will. I mean, to me, it seems as if the police are hot on the trail, right? They got this video out. They took good stills from it. They're at the sister's house again investigating. They're at this neighbor, the nanny's house. They're hot on the trail of whoever this is, right? And we'll know all the answers soon, maybe even tonight. When this first came out, a lot of people were saying, well, maybe this is a woman disguised as a man. I don't know about that. But looking at the style of the clothes, the pants and the shirt, I'm going to say this is a younger person. When I say younger, I mean millennial, Gen Z, because the clothes are so tight and the fit of the pants. Guys the age of the son-in-law most likely wouldn't be wearing those kind of pants. Looks to be somebody a little younger than that. And then there's all these, one thing that we have that we've never had in a case like this are all these internet sleuths. We've never had so many internet sleuths as we have today. And I know through some of these others, like the health insurance company murder, Mangione and all of that, that these lunatics have turned into some kind of sex symbol. I know there was a lot of internet sleuths then too, but a lot more have popped up, on online, whether it's podcast, on audio podcast platforms or YouTube. True crime is a big thing. And it's amazing to me how many people are doing true crime podcast. And of course, right now, the true crime podcasts are super hot because they're all covering the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, missing woman story. And it's amazing how many of them there are out there. And a lot of them have a good expertise. I saw one the other day. He was a retired New York City police detective, first grade. And, that's tops of the tops. And I've seen a lot of these podcasts this week. You've probably seen some of them too. The hosts are retired homicide detectives from not just the New York City Police Department, but federal agencies and all kinds of things. So there's a lot of expertise in the podcasting world today. And then we have all these amateur sleuths all over social media, like this here. They have an estimation on the height. We've never had a crime like this that takes the country by storm, where we've had so many amateur sleuths and retired law enforcement with podcasts and YouTube channels and things that are giving us so much information. So some amateur sleuths here have estimated the height based on brick height. They believe that the suspect is between 5'9" and 5'11", and they've estimated what the average width of a brick is, and then they counted the bricks, and that's how they were able to get an estimated height. We've never had anything like this before, and this is one of those moments when there's a national, there's a crime going on that takes the nation by storm, right? And we don't just have the cable news talking about it. We have all of these people that are on Twitter, that are on YouTube, that are on the different podcast platforms, who are giving real expert analysis of everything. I was watching a podcast on YouTube yesterday, and they had one of the guests they had on, who's a regular on their podcast, worked on the Bundy case. And so, there's top people, and I've been watching the last 2 or 3 days as things were closing in on the Guthrie kidnapping. I've been watching these different true crime shows, and this is really shows you where the real news and information is. Until today, with the video and the photos coming out, we have been getting more news and information on the Guthrie kidnapping plot, murder, whatever it is, hopefully not murder, than we're getting in the mainstream television. Because a lot of the people that are doing these true crime shows online, a lot of them are people that have either left traditional media because they were fired or they got fed up and they're on their own now. And they're top experts in the field, and they would rather do their work on their podcast on YouTube at home than go to answer to the man in the mainstream media. And they're getting a lot of great news and information out there. And this is really a great time for the internet during this tragedy. Look at what happened with the Turning Point USA halftime show. It's the #1 most watched live stream in the history of YouTube now. And this is being widely reported today. And so many watched it on television, on YouTube. And I know a huge number of you that watch me every day watch me on TV. It amazes me how many people watch me on television. That means I gotta, I shave a little bit more than I normally would, because on your big screen TVs, I got 75, 85-inch TVs. You can tell if I haven't shaved. It's amazing. And whether it's the Guthrie kidnapping or the Turning Point halftime show, or these true crime podcasters or shows like mine, there's a big panic going on with the mainstream media because the new media is really moving in and taking over. In fact, this story with the Guthrie kidnapping, what really lit it on fire so far as online reporting was, I guess it was it Thursday last week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday last week, when Ashley Banfield, who was at MSNBC for a long time, and then she was recently let go from News Nation. They replaced her with Katie Pavlich. She was talking about police thought that the son-in-law and the sister there was something going on there. And she said she had sources. And immediately Jake Tapper, Tapper today is starting to camp out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house. So they think something's about to happen, like an arrest. So he's going to come in for the glory, for CNN. But Jake Tapper and others in the mainstream media immediately went and tried to discount the reporting of Ashley Banfield on her podcast here on YouTube. And she was right. The police got a warrant and went and got the car. And then they went and searched the house of the sister and brother-in-law. So she was right after they all attacked her. Her source was good that the police were looking. And now that the police are back at that house today after all these releases. So we don't know who the guilty party is yet. But Ashley Banfield's reporting here on YouTube was accurate. And Jake Tapper, he didn't say her name. He was attacking her, calling her an influencer, as if that's some kind of negative to discount her. And we're really getting this transition. Is every time there's a big news story, this transition that is totally eliminating the mainstream legacy media and people going to the new media. It boom, boom, boom. It just keeps happening and happening and happening. And the new media don't adjust. I was talking to someone today when I got off the air today. I had a meeting and do some things, and they were talking to me about what I do, because I'm on you guys know I'm on a bunch of radio stations, and a bunch of new radio stations just picked up the show a few weeks ago, and we greatly expanded our reach. We cover from the Treasure Coast of Florida all the way down through the Florida Keys in the morning show, which is many millions of people in our coverage area, and we cover most of the state of Florida, certainly the majority of the population of the state of Florida now, and it's the largest audience I've ever had. And they were talking to me about it. They say, "Does it make you nervous?" I was like, "No, I don't think about it too much. I am now that I'm talking to you guys, but I don't think about it too much. I just keep on doing what I'm doing." But I talked to him how many years ago I expanded into digital, right, podcasting and YouTube on top of the radio. And what the traditional media, they don't embrace the new platform. They try to. They try different things online, or they have their websites and all, but they don't change what they're doing. And the consumer of news and information, which are those of you that are listening and watching me now, you guys are done with the legacy media. And every day, many of you leave the legacy media and come to programs like this, where I talk about the news and politics every morning and in the afternoons and on the weekends and in the middle of the night, if you guys follow me. And that's where we are now. And this Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, the main pressure that led to Kash Patel getting involved and all of these things that are happening right now, it's because of the new media, not the traditional media. The traditional media are so paranoid, and they have these blinders on that there's some superior people. They have such blinders on about the talent that is in the new media, like this program and the other ones I've been talking about in the true crime genre. There's just so much amazing talent and skill out there. And all of us who do this, we love what we do, and we have a connection with you in the listening audience that they'll never have, because Rush Limbaugh used to talk about this a lot with the media, before, this was years ago, before the rise of the new digital media and podcast and such. And he would talk about this a lot, Rush Limbaugh, about the low ratings at CNN. CNN's had low ratings forever and a day, right? And he said, he said mainstream liberal media is the only business that thinks they're smarter than the consumer. The consumer are you that are listening to me or listen to Rush or watch these podcasts I'm talking about. And he says the way that the liberal media operate, and he was talking about CNN in particular, they think they're smarter and know better than the consumer, than their customer. And if the customer's not watching them, they don't change what they're doing because they know what's best, and the consumer of news isn't bright enough to get what they're doing. So they just continue to do what they're doing, which is driving their audience away. And with this Nancy Guthrie story is a textbook example of that. Because last week, Ashley Banfield had the first major break in the story that was reported by anyone in the media, and that was a source inside law enforcement, and about the sister, the son-in-law, and the car. And the media, instead of embracing her and having her on as a guest, without them doing any investigation to verify what she said or debunk what she reported, they immediately just attacked her because they're threatened, jealous, and also arrogant and snobby, and think, well, if Ashley Banfield really knew what she does, she'd still be on News Nation. And she was on, Ashley Banfield went on Megyn Kelly, and she said she has a Rolodex of law enforcement and federal agents and everything else, that she has sources everywhere because she's been in media for 30 plus years doing reporting, and she knows what she's doing. So anyway, back to this. You know, as an example, these internet sleuths have an estimated height on this suspect from the video and everything, and they're saying between 5'9" and 5'11". And the way they did this was measure the bricks and what they did is they got the measurement for what the average brick height is, and that's 2.5 inches. And then they counted the bricks and then just did some multiplication and came up with a height of 5'9" to 5'11". Now, you know, this is what I'm talking about. This is on X. Have you seen this on Fox or CNN or anything? No. You know, and this is what I'm talking about, where if you want real analysis and the real stories, whether it's the news and politics like I cover every day, or, you know, you got a crime story like this, you don't get anything off television. Right? You don't get anything out of the traditional news like this. It would not even occur to them on television to do this, which is a pretty simple thing. And whatever the internet sleuth who did this height estimate, whether they're right or wrong, this is pretty clever and adds something to the story, especially when you have a fugitive. Well, listen, I'm going to take a quick break, and if you'd like to call in, any comments on the Nancy Guthrie case and all the developments of today, you certainly are welcome to do that. My name is Brian. This is Where MAGA Comes to Talk. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. These are the police. They're at this house. One of them's a sheriff's officer. The other two, I don't know if they're feds or not, but they might be detectives. They're at a house 2 doors down from the sister, and they just knocked on the door, and they've got questions. And they're not playing around. I mean, this is very serious. They went in there, and they want to talk to these people. And this just a few minutes ago, and the sheriff's deputy, he's taken the lead, and they're being very, very cautious. I mean, it's just 2 doors down from Savannah Guthrie's sister's house. And I mean, this is happening in real time. Okay, then they went inside. Yeah, okay. Now they've gone inside to speak to them. Holy smokes. A lot of times, what happens in these things is people have big mouths. And people do a lot of bragging about things. And they run their mouths about things people have in their houses and everything. And then the wrong person finds out about it. And the next thing you know, mom gets kidnapped. Who knows? Now, this is a still from the front door camera. I mean, this is really terrifying. This is like out of a movie. I mean, the guy, this is not some random guy that just was walking through the neighborhood and saw a light on, decided to do a robbery. Right? I mean, this is a guy who, he has a mask on, covered up his face. To me, it looks like he might even have something on under the mask because you don't see much of a nose there, right? He's got these oversized gloves on. He's got the backpack full of everything. He's got this jacket completely zipped up to cover up his clothes. This person isn't just trying to hide their face and the way they walk up, bent over so their face isn't captured. They're trying to hide as much of their clothing as possible and hide as much about their hands as possible. You can tell a lot from people just based on the shape of their hands, right? But this is what I mean about, this is going to be some of the identifying factors. I mean, you look at this guy. Does this look like a random event? This is a guy who came to do some business. Plus, he's got the gun with the weird holster. And there's no way that everyone who knows this guy does not know that the guy they know is the one that did this. There's just no getting around it because, you look at this, even if the clothing and the mask and the gloves and the jacket are all brand new, which is unlikely, right? But even if it's all brand new, it is terrifying. I mean, this is out of terrifying movie I've ever seen, But his legs are a major identifier, right? The way his legs are shaped, the way he's standing here, the shoes he's wearing. It's like my wife and I, we were talking earlier with that Luigi psychotic person. The people that knew him, including his family, knew who he was when that video first came out the next morning, and they didn't turn him in. I don't care what they say. There's no way they did not know that was their son or their friend. Everybody knew who that was, right? They knew right away, but they didn't tell. He got found in what was a fast food restaurant. Same thing goes with this psycho. Everyone who knows this guy knows exactly who it is just based on the one still in front of the door. I mean, just looking from the waistline down, they know who this is. They know who this is. And no one does this randomly with all of this gear. And so far as the ski mask, now I know it's been cold lately, but you don't go around in a ski mask like that, even in the cold weather, unless you're planning something. Now, some of you have been calling in. I haven't been taking the calls. If you'd like to call in and have thoughts on this, your thoughts certainly are welcome. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. 2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice.
Hello?
Oh, you just made it. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Angel. I'm calling from Puerto Rico.
All right, Puerto Rico. What's on your mind?
I actually saw your show yesterday on my way to school.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I found it pretty interesting how you, like you talk with other people. I heard you talk about talking with Australians yesterday.
It
was very interesting to me.
Yeah, I hear from people all over the world. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, but
Here we go.
I'm not sure what you were talking about right now.
Well, right now we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, but yesterday, I guess you're in Puerto Rico, so I'm assuming it was me talking about that no talent, Bad Bunny.
Yeah. I don't agree with it, but I respect your opinion.
You don't agree with what?
Well, the no talent part, of course.
Oh, okay.
But that's just differing opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you were talking about right now the Nancy. What?
What inspired you? You caught the show yesterday. You can talk about Bad Bunny. That's okay. That's what's on your mind. I mean, you're in Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. I've been there many, many times, and I'm coming to Puerto Rico soon. On my MAGA cruise is coming up, and one of our stops is San Juan, Puerto Rico, and this will probably be my, I don't know, 4th or 5th time to Puerto Rico. Out of all of Latin America, of which Puerto Rico is a part of Latin America, would you agree?
In the Caribbean. You mean Latin America?
Latin America. Puerto Rico is part of Latin America.
Yeah. We're all Latinos. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you go...
I didn't hear you right.
Okay. Out of all of Latin America, and when I talk about Latin America, I'm talking about Mexico all the way through Central and South America, and I'll throw in Puerto Rico. All of Latin America is a third world place, except one. What is the one place in all of Latin America that's not third world? Mexico, Central America, South America, we're throwing in Puerto Rico. It's all the third world except one place. What is the one place in Latin America that's not a third world place?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. It's the place you're calling me from.
It's the place
that you're calling me from.
You mean Puerto Rico is
Puerto
not
Rico.
a third world country?
Puerto Rico is the only place in all of Latin America that's not the third world. I've been there many times. Why is all of Latin America a third world pit except beautiful Puerto Rico, which is my favorite place in the Caribbean? Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't. Puerto Rico has a lot of problems.
Every place has problems. I'm in Florida. I could go to parts of Miami with my Trump 2028 hat on and my Trump shirt I'm wearing and get killed. Okay, every place has problems, but Puerto Rico is not the third world. It's beautiful. That's why I go there so much on the MAGA cruise. So Puerto Rico is not the third world. The rest of Latin America is. What's different? What makes Puerto Rico different from the rest of the world that's Latin American?
Other than the fact that we are Americans.
There you go. Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, and you're an American, and Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States that we are proud of.
But Brian, tell me this. Tell me this. Before we continue on that line of thought, how come? I mean, it's very, very, very common for a lot of Americans to not know that. They are so dumbfounded.
You're an American. You're an American.
No, yeah, and so last year I lived in Texas, Austin. And I was getting a job to be a manager at a repair shop. And I told them, I was like, I'm from Puerto Rico, and they're like, oh, do you have a working visa? I was like,
Well, that you
why?
can't
Why would I
listen.
need one?
That's a stupid person, right? I mean, you got a stupid
Huh?
person. That if you went out on the street and you asked 100 people how many states there are, how many states are there in the United States?
Wasn't there 50, 51? 50 or
51.
51? I don't know.
50 or 50. See, that's the answer you
51.
get from most people. 51?
Yeah.
You sure? Final answer?
Shit, man, you're fucking putting me up to the wall.
It's 50 states. There's 50 states. But if you
yeah, 50 states.
But sadly, many Americans like yourself will say 51. So not everybody knows that Puerto Rico, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and there's a couple of others are U.S. territories and you're U.S. citizens. But that doesn't mean that. But see, Puerto Rico is the only spot, and I love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is, if you only go to one place in the Caribbean, you want to go to Puerto Rico. It's super cool. I love San Juan, and San Juan. It's like with cobblestone streets.
Man, you gotta get out of San Juan.
Yeah, it's like
you gotta go in the mountains.
I know about the mountains too, but it's a beautiful place. It is the only. You can go to the mainland and there's crime places. Okay. It's not a coincidence that the only Latin American place that's not the third world is the one part of it that's owned by the United States. It's because we are, and that's that.
Well, I mean, the thing about obviously the other countries in South America and Central America, compared to the U.S., obviously their currency is valued.
No, it's not their currency.
It's much lower than ours.
South America have all the resources that we have in North America. But the United States...
They also have a lot of corruption, too.
Well,
they have an immense amount of corruption.
The reason it's corrupt is because Latin American culture is a culture of corruption. We saw a little bit of it after the hurricane years ago in Puerto Rico. When Puerto Rico got hit a few years ago during Trump's first term, the local governor and some of the local officials had been squandering all the money that they were supposed to be using for the power lines and such, remember? Latin American culture is a culture of corruption. That's why all of Latin America, except if Puerto Rico was not a part of the United States, it'd be third world too.
And you're basing this off of the notion
purely
because it's purely full of Latino.
How many countries are there in Latin America from Mexico on down? I don't know. Bad Bunny named them all the other day.
There's a lot.
And they're all third world and corrupt. And they have the same resources that we have in the United States and Canada. And the United States and Canada are first world countries. Out of all of the Americas, they don't have the same resources.
Sure, they do. The biggest thing that makes the United States a global power is their military. Everybody fears the United States because of that. We
didn't have a major military until after the Second World War. Okay, and before that, we weren't a third world country. And as an example, Venezuela, which we liberated with a great airstrike. Many of the planes took off from Puerto Rico. And they have oil and other natural resources just like we have in the United States. But they're untapped because of the corruption there. And there's a lot of resources like gold and all kinds of other natural resources. The farmland in South America is just as rich as in the United States and Canada. It's just it's a corrupt culture. That's just the way it is. It's sad, but that's the way it is.
I mean, but there's corruption. There's plenty of corruption in the United States as well. I mean,
yeah,
pretty much all of the branches in the government, from state level to
but we're not run. But the United States isn't run by drug cartels, like Mexico and a lot of Latin American countries. We're not run by drug cartels. We've got corrupt public officials. Yeah, sure, like Biden and others, and people like AOC.
Biden isn't in office. Biden isn't in office, Brian. What are you
No, but
talking
he was in office. He was in office for over 50 years, and he was corrupt. Ilhan Omar, who's worth $30 million through Somali corruption.
Can I ask you a question, Brian? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you think about Melania Trump's documentary that she got paid like $28 million or something?
That's not corrupt. That's not corrupt.
So you're telling me that the First Lady of the United States is getting paid $28 million to make a documentary, and she's getting paid by who? By Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, and this movie hasn't even hit like record box office.
But it will, but it will because it's going to go to Amazon Prime, and there's episode. It's going to be done episodically with a bunch of things we didn't see, and maybe it'll make money, maybe it won't. Not all movies are profitable. Many movies lose money. Some of them make money, but that documentary of Melania, I went and saw it in the theater. It was my first time in a movie theater in 7 years. And a lot of people like me went to the movies for the first time in years. People stopped going to the movie theaters like they did after the pandemic, right? And while maybe they'll lose money on the Melania movie, but maybe in the long run they'll make it up by getting people back into the habit of going to the movie theater.
Well,
for other movies that they make
in the long run for a movie, don't you think that's counterproductive? Don't you want a quicker return on your investment?
But Jeff Bezos is,
in my opinion,
Jeff Bezos is one of the richest men in the world. I mean, he knows more about long-term financial things than you and I will ever know, right? I mean, he knows what he's doing.
So $28 million for him is just pennies in the bucket.
Mm-hmm. But if it gets people back into the habit of going to the movie theater, it'll help you make money on future theatrical releases.
But
it's a
because in my opinion, what this is Jeff Bezos trying to get into Donald Trump's
maybe, but that doesn't mean that
so that he can keep getting deals with his Blue Origin company,
maybe,
and try to get more.
Yeah, his penis rocket. His rocket that's shaped like a penis.
Contracts.
Maybe Jeff Bezos.
What?
Jeff Bezos' rocket looks like a penis. Yes, look at it. When we're done talking, look it up. It's shaped like a penis. I'm telling you the truth. Yeah, it's a penis rocket, and he probably did that on purpose. He's such a weirdo. You're right. Jeff Bezos very well may have been trying to buy influence with President Trump. He very well may have. However, that doesn't mean Donald Trump took a bribe. Donald Trump's a billionaire 10 times over. He doesn't.
So what about the deals that he's done with the Saudis? I think it was, or with South Emirates, that they gave him. Oh, what about when he pardoned the Honduras president? That president was convicted of trafficking.
Well,
what was it, like 400 things? Let me Google that.
Everyone who gets a pardon, okay, for the most part, sometimes people get pardoned in advance, but people get pardoned and released from jail with every president. They've all been convicted.
Okay, but he.
So why did President Trump pardon the drug trafficking former president? Well, of Honduras. I know why.
That's a great question.
I have an answer.
Okay.
Before I give you the answer, why do you think he did?
To be quite honest, I'm not so sure, but
well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. No, it's called intelligence gathering. He pardoned him, and then what happened? A few weeks later, we got Maduro, and he's basically taken down almost all of the drug cartel activity into this country from South America. Very little's coming through anymore. That guy had all kinds of because he was in league with the cartels. He had all kinds of information about the cartels, how they operate, who they are, where they do their banking. And he was a source of valuable intelligence information to bring down the drug traffickers. He's probably one of the sources that they use to take out those boats. We just took out another boat today filled with fentanyl coming to the United States. It was a deal he made for intelligence gathering. Probably helped with Maduro too. He probably knew a lot about Maduro's palace and his security and all kinds of things. And he probably also had he probably has access to the specific locations to where cocaine factories are, where the boats are, where they load up with the illegal drugs to come here. That's why he did it. It's like a CIA intel thing.
So where is all this information? And after he
well, it's secret information. The war on drugs continues.
After he took Maduro from Venezuela to New York, why did they not specify or at least clear it up? Hey, this is why we took.
Because they don't want they don't want the enemies. They don't want the enemies to know. This is still a major. The operation's ongoing. The war on drugs is not over.
The information is there. I mean, and look, if I was in cahoots with the ex-president of Honduras and he was convicted in the U.S. and let's say I'm a drug trafficker, right? Ooh, big scary guy.
Drug traffickers are scary guys. They're scary guys. El Chapo, those are scary guys.
No, definitely, for sure. And great on the U.S. for convicting a horrible person that contributes to thousands of deaths from drug overdoses. Like that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was in cahoots with this president, and I saw in the news that this president was convicted and he's been jailed, then I would change my strategies. I would change my operations. Don't you think that's what they're going to be doing?
There have been hundreds of thousands of lives have been saved by President Trump taking down the cartels like he has. And a lot of that was done through this pardoning of this former president of Honduras. This guy had incredible information on how the cartels operate. And I would be shocked if the information didn't lead to getting Maduro. We got Maduro without any loss of American equipment or lives. I mean, we hit them before they even knew what hit them, and I promise you that guy gave some information. Listen, I'm going to move on, but very good call. Call me again. So I'm glad you found me. Make sure you subscribe and call me again on another show.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Brian. It was nice talking to you. Even though I don't agree with most of your points, but you're very respectful.
Maybe I'll see you when I'm in Puerto Rico in March. We'll see. All right, take care. All right, good call. That was one of the better calls I've taken in a while. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast, which is available wherever you get podcasts. We'll take a quick break and be right back. All right, we're back. That was a great call with that kid from Puerto Rico, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
I'm
My name's Charlie. I'm English and I live in Spain.
All right, from Puerto Rico to Spain. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to I don't sound like the average Trump guy, but I'm just like, I'm a big Trump fan, and I think I really I'm just so amazed at his business acumen. I think he's really inspiring. Because I don't know how many times, was it once, twice, 3 times? It's hard to count on one hand. Maybe it was 6 times. He went bankrupt, and yet he still idiots.
Well, that's not. He never went bankrupt. He never
believe in him.
He never went bankrupt.
Oh, he never went bankrupt.
Nope. Never had personal bankruptcy. Nope. Nope. He never had a personal bankruptcy.
He never went bankrupt.
Never had a personal bankruptcy.
Okay,
Nope.
well,
Sorry. Liberal talking points.
I love these alternative
and
facts,
liberal talking points and gobbledygook and garbage, even with a nice British accent, still sounds like the same.
No, but I'll tell you, I am a big fan of Trump.
I know, I can tell.
Used to be.
Yes, I can
I
tell.
didn't
Used to be
a big fan of Trump, but I am now.
Now.
You know what happened? You know what the change was for me to become a Trump fan?
The suspense is killing me.
I got kicked in the head by a horse.
Really? Is that British humor?
Yeah, it is, Brian.
That's pretty bad. That's not even funny.
Isn't it?
That's not even funny. No, it's not funny.
Great.
Let me tell you this. This. We don't need any redcoats telling us who's this country that you guys couldn't hold on to.
Yeah, pink coats. Get it right, Brian.
Coats. That's you, the Brits.
Yeah, I mean they're physically red, but we call them pink.
What? What's that? I can't hear you going all cocky.
Alternative facts.
What? Alternative facts? What? You guys didn't lose the revolution? America didn't win its independence from England?
I'm talking about the colour of the coats, Brian. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the red coats? The British Army did not have red coats?
Yeah.
What color were the coats? What color were the coats? If they weren't red, what color were they?
Brian.
What color were they?
They're physically red, but we call them pink coats, Brian.
They were red coats. Well, we call them red. The red coats are coming. The red coats are coming. The red coats are coming. Paul Revere.
Do you literally listen to what you're saying right now, Brian?
It's called American history. The history of how we whooped England's butt. And became, this is the oldest democracy in the world, the United States. And it began when we beat you.
Fantastic.
It is what democracy is older than the United States? We are the oldest democracy in the world, the United States.
Wow, it's fantastic.
See why they lost their empire? Listen to this. Listen to this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we're about to celebrate our 200th. And in July 4th, we're going to celebrate the 250th anniversary of declaring our independence from you redcoats.
Right, okay. What will you be doing for that, Brian?
I'll be celebrating. Probably have some hamburgers.
Hamburgers from Germany, okay.
From Florida. Hamburgers from the United States. We have a lot of, we have a part of my family is German descent.
Hamburger, but okay. What else will you be enjoying? Is that a nice some French fries or?
No, you don't make French fries on the grill. Probably a beer or two, and I'll watch the party on television in Washington D.C. as our great president celebrates the 250th anniversary of the United States declaring independence from England. Watch some fireworks.
Okay, so tell me this. So he didn't go bankrupt 6 times.
Nope. President Trump never had a personal bankruptcy. Nope.
How many felonies? How many felonies has he got?
None. Those are kangaroo courts, fake charges, corrupt judges, corrupt juries.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Brian, you're not wearing the tinfoil hat tonight.
I'm wearing a
You
Trump
are
2028
so far
hat.
off the fucking-
I'm wearing a Trump 2028
Yeah.
hat. Yes.
Yeah, and that's actually probably worse than a tinfoil hat at this point.
Oh, this hat's great.
You're so far gone.
They sell these at the White House, you
So
know.
far gone. It's hilarious. It's so hilarious to watch.
If England is
It's almost-
England is so
this
great,
com-
if England is
in
so
England,
great, why
this
are
is
you in
actually-
Spain?
This is actually
If
comedy.
if England is so great, why are you in Spain?
I make wine in Spain.
You make
I live
wine? I had to think about it.
In
Yeah,
Spain.
Ilhan Omar makes wine too. A winery that doesn't exist.
Mate, you are.
What I mean, England.
You're
Why did you guys? You didn't just lose.
nuts.
You didn't just lose
Dude,
the
there's also-
colonies. You've lost your own. You've lost your
Just
country.
because I've got an English accent, why do you think I'm English?
Your country. I know why you're in Spain, because your country has
Dude,
become
wait,
an
stop,
Islamic
stop,
nation.
Stop. What? I have an English accent. Why did you think I was English?
You told me you were at the beginning of the call. You told me you were from England, but you're in Spain right now.
No, I
Yeah.
live in Spain.
Yeah, but you told me you're from England in the beginning of the
I've
call.
got a Polish passport.
Yeah, you told me you were from England,
No, I
but
told
you're
you
in
that
Spain now.
Trump's a massive knobhead, and now you're wearing a tinfoil hat, and you're fucking mental.
Uh huh. I'm
Have a
mental.
good day,
You're
Brian.
giggling.
Go-
You're
go- go
giggling
get
like
some
you're giggling like a psychotic person. I mean, my goodness. You think he's wearing a ski mask like this guy at Nancy Guthrie's front door? Sounds like it, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. It's the pain of. Didn't he tell me he was from England? He says I'm originally from England and I'm in Spain right now. There's something about the English. They love Spain. They all go. I'd get out of England too. I mean, I don't speak Arabic and all that Sharia stuff going on. Huh. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean.
Well, TDS certainly isn't in short supply.
Oh, it jumped
And,
across
they
the
have
pond.
their altern-
They have it.
Oh, everywhere.
In
Everywhere.
Spain?
We're going international.
Yeah.
We're going international. I mean, look at this. You got these people that come out. They have an alternate sense of history. Their space of facts is completely warped. They're throwing dildos. They're ICE agents now. I mean, they just did that in Minnesota just
Really?
over the weekend. They were at the Whip. Yeah, there was this video I saw at the Whipple building, one of the main ICE facilities, and they were handing out dozens of them, and they were throwing them. They even had little suction cup things on them so you could stick them on the cars. They even attacked somebody that was one of their own. At first, they were going after him, and then they found out it was one of theirs. And then anybody that was going by, they were throwing them, and then everybody and throwing them on the cars, wearing them on their heads.
What
absolutely
color were
absurd.
they? What skin color were they?
Oh, every color in the spectrum, probably.
Oh, really? So they were every ethnicity?
They had everything. They had
White.
neon colors. They had all
Neon? No, that's not a real okay. No. What skin colors did they have? Like real skin colors?
Well, the only one I saw was just Caucasian style.
Caucasian. They only had
That's the
Caucasian ones. Okay.
White style. Yeah.
Okay.
But they were just absurd. And I just said, how are we supposed to take these people serious?
I guess
And,
I guess
these
they're
are
I
the
guess
people that
they
can lead our
I
country.
guess they're kind of like Band-Aids. They all come in Caucasian color. I don't know if
Yeah.
any of you remember
Well,
this.
it's funny,
When I was a kid, and I remember when I was this is before I lived in Florida. I was really little, and I was at a grocery store.
Mhm.
It was called Piggly Wiggly. I don't
Yeah.
think they have those anymore. And they had Band-Aids.
I've heard of that.
They had Band-Aids for black people, and they were called Soul Aids. It was right on the can that they sold in the store. It said Soul Aids. I wish I would have bought them and
Oh my
kept them back then. That'd probably be like so valuable. No, I'm not kidding. They were called Soul Aids.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Soul-Aids, and it was in a can just like regular
Wow.
Band-Aids. That's probably a very valuable collectible item today. If I had the Band-Aids and the cans, I know, isn't that
Oh.
crazy? Soul-Aids.
Wow.
I can't be the only one
can
that
you imagine
had
if
ever
those-
seen those.
Can you imagine if those were around today? What would
Well,
happen?
that was in the
It'd be two
late
sides of-
70s and early 80s. Segregation was still in the minds of a lot of people in the South back then.
Mhm.
Soul-Aids. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that is just too much.
It's
I'll have
true.
to look that up and take a look around, some research into that.
I hadn't thought
so
about that
I
in a
believe
long
you.
time.
I
Yeah, I'll
just-
look it up too. Yeah, I remember seeing them in
Yeah.
the grocery store.
Wow. Well, something too. These people are so nuts that they would try and bring this back. And these people would never be able to do the progress. Now, Sandra Guthrie's, this footage we have, it wasn't because of local enforcement. This is Donald Trump's involvement in the FBI. This is why we have what we have, because their involvement is what made the information we have so far possible. And they don't want to admit that.
Yeah, I just looked them up. No, I just Googled them, and they're all over the place. The Soul Age. Yeah, there's let me see. They got there's pictures of them, and let me. Are you still with me? All right, hold on. I might have lost you. Okay, hold on. It says here. Are you still with me? No, did I get the lines mixed up? All right, hold on. Okay, are you back?
I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I just looked. It says sold. Hold on. Let me answer all the lines coming in. It says here, Soul Aid bandages were 19. Let's see here. Soul Aid bandages were a 1970s, 80s brand, and yeah, they were around. Soul Aids.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's pictures of them. If you go to Google Images,
wow.
There's all kinds of pictures of them. Yeah.
Well, anything can and does happen. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. That's absolutely insane to me. I mean, that actually exists. I just came.
I told
wow.
you.
I did see the neon colors they had and all the designer band-aids that they have out for kids and all that stuff, but they took it to another level.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. That is incredible.
It
wow.
says, here's an ad for one. It says, it's Soul Aid. And this is the one I remember. It's a box. It's got a little kid on it, and he's black. Soul Aids. It's an ad, and it says, finally, someone thought about you. It says on the ad. I'm gonna say, I'll put this picture on my X at Brian Craig Show, and you guys can look at it.
Oh, I want to take a look. I'll take a look at that. Anyway. Oh my. I just that is oh man, that just gets me every
Isn't that crazy?
If you get a chance, check out the whole thing with what they did, because this is just taking it to. You'll laugh, you'll shake your head, because this is where they've gone now, and well, they've been there. They've been there.
With what? What are you talking about?
And this is how they. I'm talking about what the ICE protesters, what they did.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, because they're not. This is how they think they're going to win the battle.
Well, who would have such a thing? Who would have such a thing in such large quantity?
These people.
I guess
people
so.
are insane. They're not rational.
I'm hoping that we get. Back to what I started the show about was the video and the images that came out in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping. And the police are hot on someone's trail. I hope I wake up in the morning and they've made an arrest.
Well, like I said to you a second ago, it's just because of Donald Trump's efforts in the FBI that we've got the information that we have because of this. Do you think that the other side would be able to do this?
No.
Because you know what? Yeah. More information is coming. I think, and it's only a matter of time where they will find this man.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a body language expert to know these movements. Someone's gonna, like you said, someone's gonna recognize these movements, and something's gonna happen. They said they're on the trail of this person now. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And do you think he acted alone, or do you think there's more?
We don't have enough information. We really don't have a lot of information. It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, I don't know.
It was assumed, that there were no cameras and so now, and and all of a sudden, the FBI's like, wait a minute, we got something here.
Yeah.
Because we know that the local enforcement wasn't able to pull off what they did. That's why I kept saying Donald Trump is the man. And,
I must say though, I was listening to Bongino on Fox a little while ago, and he was giving his analysis. And I can't get into Bongino's analysis after he sat there for a year and we didn't get any arrest.
I know.
And,
it's hard, after that.
And his theory was about a break-in gone wrong. And that didn't sound like, no. This guy's got with the gloves and
No.
Yeah. It didn't. His analysis seemed really off.
I mean, he's just speculating like anyone else, really. At this point, his guess is as good as anybody.
Well, it shows that he's not the expert. Because I've been watching all these retired detectives with all these true crime podcasts, and they've got some real expert analysis. Maybe they'll be right, maybe they'll be wrong, but his didn't seem like expert analysis, Bongino, to me. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, you got tech experts now. We got all these people that are out there now that are really giving their insights, and they actually sound pretty sound.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a few of their clips on Fox News, and they had some great tech guys out there talking about where this is going to go and where this could go. And we can see the outline of this guy's face. I mean, he's not all covered up completely either.
But I'll tell you, on this show, If you guys missed the beginning of the show, that call I got from that kid from Puerto Rico was one of the best calls I've gotten in a while. I mean, he's a big Bad Bunny fan. He didn't agree, but he agrees more than he realizes.
It was interesting.
Yeah, that was a good caller.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. That was very good, very depthful, and you don't see calls. You don't get too many calls like that one before, where somebody comes in from the other side like that, and then you can actually
talk to them.
You kind of like show them the other side. And
yeah,
he
didn't use profanity, and then that guy from England called. It's in Spain, and he was out of control.
Yeah.
He was a creep.
Right.
I felt like he was wearing a ski mask, like this guy in the Nancy Guthrie video.
Yeah.
You know, he's
well,
just
if England's
creepy.
so great, why aren't you over there? You know, he's over in Spain. You know,
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, he doesn't know his history.
That's
correct.
Well, he knows.
That's
They
it.
lost. They lost. That's all they need to know.
They listen. Yeah, they listen to their own set of angels. You know, they're not going to listen to, you know.
He's trying to
someone
tell us
actually knows his
that the
history.
British Army weren't wearing red coats. They were wearing pink coats.
I don't understand. Was he? What is he? He's been in Spain too long.
That's
maybe.
right.
That's
All right,
the
listen, I'm
problem,
going to
you know.
run, but I appreciate the
that's it.
call. All right. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian, and this is obviously where MAGA comes to talk. I'm here live every day. In the mornings, I host a radio show that's on a whole bunch of radio stations, and I live stream here on YouTube when I'm on the radio in the mornings. And then I'm here in the afternoons and on the weekends as well when I'm not on the radio. And anytime you catch me in the studio, I'm taking live calls like I'm doing now. The Brian Craig Show podcast is available wherever you get podcasts. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for The Brian Craig Show, and I'll pop up. And if you want to catch the show live in video format, that's on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search The Brian Craig Show. I'll come up. And if you'd like to support the program, become a Patreon supporter. If you're a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes. You get access to exclusive live streams that are completely troll-free, that are on the Patreon platform. And Patreon supporters get access to that exclusively. And if you become a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen here on YouTube and a live on-air thank you shout-out on every podcast. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening on. And the names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, Doris, and our newest top Patreon supporter, Rick. Welcome, Rick, to the top Patreon supporter club. Again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening on. And you can also go to patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Thanks for joining. Again, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes.